morning, guys. You should have finished video 1 and 2 if you're watching this video. This is the third video in our Panda Performance Task series. And so you've already taken notes on the video or looked at my notes. You've already done source 2 and 3 and typed just right onto the document underneath the paragraph, highlighted important information, annotated that text, and you're ready for question number 1. That's the only question we want you to do this week. I know some of you like to get ahead, but we are going to explain some things that might change your answer. So if you do get ahead, make sure you still watch these videos to make sure you did it correctly. On this question 1, we talked a little bit yesterday about what it's asking. It says source 1 and source 2 discuss how the population of pandas is decreasing. We said that means lowering. So both of them talk to us about how the panda population is going down. But what does source 2 explain that source 1 does not? So I needed to find 2 things in source 2 that are not in source 1, and then tell why that's helpful information. So I'm using my race, but it's kind of expanded because for every piece of evidence, I need an explanation. So it will look like restate answer, evidence, explain, evidence, explain. That's how it's going to kind of come about. So when I'm looking at source 2, a couple of things stand out to me. One, my paragraphs aren't numbered. You might want to number those paragraphs to help you. But when I'm looking at paragraph 3 right here, it talks about how people are part of the problem. It says the forests where the bamboo once grew were being cut down by logging companies, and the lowlands were being used for farming. Basically, humans forced pandas out of their homes and away from their food supply. That was one piece of evidence. I know they did not mention logging companies or the lowlands and all that, so I'm going to include that as one, but I need a second one. So when I go back down to paragraph, if I look, that's paragraph 3, 4, 5, paragraph 6, I see it says female bears only have the opportunity to get pregnant once a year. In addition, females only give birth to 1 or 2 cubs at a time. Well, I know that if they can only give birth once a year to maybe 1 or 2 cubs, it's going to take forever for them to increase their population. So that's part of why they are endangered. And even though it mentions a little bit about that in the video in the Conservation Center, it doesn't talk about the specifics of that. So those are the 2 pieces of evidence I'm going to include in my answer. When you come to answer, it's important that we restate and have a lead-in. So if we just look at what I wrote at first, and yes, this is my answer, but instead of you hustling to type, know that you can come back and freeze this later. We really want you to understand the process. The video can only be 5 minutes or else I would type with you, but I kind of want to show you. So first I said, source 1 and source number 2 has information about the declining panda population that source 1 does not have. That's me restating. Remember that R in race. For example, look at that lead-in. Source 2 explains that humans are taking over much of the panda habitat. Paragraph 3 of source number 2 states, there's my lead-in and my evidence, and I literally went and copied and pasted the sentence right out of the text. You can do that too. You just have to copy and then paste it into your answer. Then I had to explain this evidence shows how pandas were losing their homes and not able to continue their way of life. Also, according to the text, female bears only have the opportunity to get pregnant once a year. In addition, females only give birth to 1 or 2 cubs at a time. Again, I copied and pasted that straight from the text. I had a lead-in right here, okay? Also according to the text, and now I have to explain that. This information is helpful because it provides us more insight into the reason, this provides information about why, that's my lead-in for this one. Pandas cannot grow their population quickly, which explains why they cannot increase their population fast enough. So again, I gave a piece of evidence about these female bears, then I explained the evidence, and now I'm answering this part. Says explain why that information is helpful. This information is helpful because it provides us more insight into the reason that pandas are endangered and why their population is decreasing. So again, I restated, I answered, cite, explain, cite, explain. That's kind of what you have to do to answer that question. So you can pause now and type in that source number 1 answer, and we'll do our questions, the next questions next week. Awesome job, guys. We miss you.